Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's Tuesday, May 21st, 2013, and this here is Day 9 Daily 589, where we learn to be a better gamer. And we will today. How ironic. The rate at which we learn to be a better gamer is just doing this, just going straight down. But it's fine because the amount of laughter is just... So we're going to try to just make them both skyrocket up for fun. At the very least, I'm wearing a troll shirt today. Watch this. As I let the shirt take up more of the frame, the walls redden in the room. Look at how red the walls are turning, and then when I move back down, they turn green again. Okay? So you can't notice if I do it slowly, but then look at the walls, and then it's green again. Yeah, troll shirt journey. Cool game. In today's daily, we're going to be looking at a Protoss vs. Protoss early expand game. An early expand build, excuse me, that's very, very safe. That's one of the big chunks of the daily, is seeing what on earth this safe build is. And then we're going to be looking at the mid and late game, whereby in this PvP style we will see no colossus. What? No colossus. None of that shit. We are not going to be building any colossus. Why? Because we have other alternative units. And we have cojones of brass. Great. Good. So we'll be looking at that today. We will be looking at a longer game between State and Minigun, looking at State's build. Then we'll be looking at a short game where State undergoes some sickening pressure and yet holds it all off. In very exciting news today, two remarkable things happened. First of all, I woke up at 8. Yes! I've been trying to get up earlier and earlier as to not be one of those people that's up at like 4 in the morning being like, well, I don't want to go to bed. I mean, the internet is happening right now. And what if I fall asleep and miss something? I need to keep F5ing Reddit. What? A blue link? What are you doing there? Eliminated. So I've been getting up earlier. I went to a coffee shop to do work. But that brings us to the second problem of the day. It's really hard to do anything when you've thrown out a muscle in your back. Like, I can't even shampoo my head. Oh, it's terrible. Any task at all. Like making a left turn in the car, I was like, I just couldn't turn, so I just turned on the signal and was like, good luck whoever's behind me. Unfortunately, luck was on their side that day. We made it to the coffee shop. Internet didn't work at all. I don't know how on earth people work in coffee shops. I don't. Nothing actually gets done except for the drinking of coffee and the searching for a bathroom. It's an odd thing to slip in there at the end. Well, they didn't have one, so I had to like pack myself up and go to Subway and be like, can I use your restroom? And they're like, are you buying a sandwich? And I was like, what's the right answer? What lets me use the bathroom? I don't know. It's not an interesting story, but it is certainly something that happened. Good! Let's talk about Protoss vs. Protoss, shall we? God, I can't... Oh, God. Drinking this coffee, like, hurts, too. Just... So, let's talk about PvP a little bit, shall we? In the Protoss vs. Protoss matchup, what's it all about? In the early game, there's a number of timing rushes, timing attacks that are a real pain in the ass, a real big butt to deal with. Largely because of the fact that Warp In eliminates our Defender's Advantage. And just brief definition, if you don't know what Defender's Advantage is, what are you doing playing SHOUTCraft? Defender's Advantage means that because units travel, if I have 10 units and you have 10 units and then I go to your base, by the time I get there, you have 12 units. Because your units didn't have to walk. My 2 new units are still at home. So the defender should always have a larger army. But with Warp-Ins, that obviously doesn't happen. As a result, the timing attacks are very difficult to deal with in this matchup. Things like the standard 4 gates, 3 gate Stalker plus Mothership Core is very common. We also have some really annoying blink timings. We have even non-gateway based pushes such as Stargate play, Oracle Phoenix, Dark Templar, not exactly a gateway-based attack because you're not going like mass DT, unless you're terrible. I'm going to warp in a 50th Dark Templar, and if he has no detection, he'll die so fast. you know, you'll warp in 2 or 3 DTs. We need to account for that. So PvP early game honestly has a ton of just terrible losses. Terrible, awful, brutal, heinous losses that bring rage to your face. Because you know if you just had that extra unit out, you'd stay alive. So that's really, I'd say, like 60% of PvP is figuring out how the hell to get past those early game stages, which is why we're going to spend an extra long time analyzing that. The second thing that happens is, now that you've stayed alive and you have 2+ bases, there is the ever infamous heavy colossus play. Most maxed army compositions will have about 9 colossus, 8 or 9 colossus, with Zealot Archon to back up. Stalkers suck in maxed armies. Speed Zealots and Archons are much, much better. The Archons to knock down anything and to help your Zealots rip down their Zealots. Archons are also good at taking the Colossus shot, and you can kind of get up to the front. Immortals are also pretty important. Not in huge quantities, but in reasonable quantities. Once your Zealots kind of shove through, your Immortals can kill their Colossus quite swiftly. What we're going to see is we're going to see a state safely early expand and then transition into a Colossus-less composition, relying largely on Void Rays and Tempests as replacements for those units, and opening up a whole range of sweet tactics. This is just a really exciting game. I'm using the Game Hard Observer interface because this is from the SHOUTCraft Invitational, SHOUTCraft America, that went on. This is one of these semifinal matches. In case you don't know the results, State 4-0 to Minigun. And I don't care if that's a spoiler for you, because the finals happened today, and I won't spoiler that for you. Do I have this? Look at all these appropriately established volume numbers. I am deeply proud of the fact that I do my job. So, okay. Let's talk about some of the basics right off the bat. We're going to be looking largely at the state cam, or the... What is the state cam? There's me, I watched this live. Woohoo! Oh, state's 4. Great, the state cam. Apparently botches absolutely everything. Let's remove that. What's the everyone cam? Alright, let's stick with this then. We're literally never going to use state's point of view. Changes the interface. Don't want to deal with that. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. So first of all, you'll always have to be aware of proxies on any map. That's really the first timing push to deal with. Most of the time on Acheron Waste, they'll proxy right there. So our early building placement is pretty important. For one, this pylon should never just be out in the open. It really should have some intelligent placing to it. Here, we see that 2 sides, the north side and the south side of the pylon, are blocked. So that means that's less surface area for Zealots to strike at. And also, enemy Zealots will likely have trouble hitting from this angle due to the fact that we have our probes here. It's a very solid placement. Gateway goes down. Part of me almost prefers a gateway like right there to block them off from hitting this most vulnerable outside edge. So there, just with a little bit of building placement, we've already abated a lot of possible concerns for early Zealot harass. Minigun's also doing something kind of similar. He has this pylon and this gateway down. Notice the pylon has effectively the backside covered. It's effectively flush with the Nexus, and this is literally flush with the gateway. This little hole in between, right, the slit that I'm making with my rectangle between the buildings, is really nice to micro against if Zealots get into your base. Because your Stalkers can sort of run like this, and then pop into this slit, and the Zealots will just line them up! And then you can, you know, shoot him in the face with your Stalker lasers. So State takes his gas. Everything is pretty much as to be expected, with one potential notable exception, which I will back up and note. Generally, players have players will go for this 15 assimilator. See this probe here? Most players will queue up another probe with that. And then when this probe pops out, they'll build an assimilator with it. For example, we can just see Minigun. Did he do it this game? Never mind. Ignore everything I just said. Normally players will go for a gas on 15. State does go for a gas on 14. That's actually significant enough. This is like an extra about 30 to 50 gas that you will get by building it that early, and you will lose about 30 to 50 minerals doing that. So we better be doing something good with the gas. I mean, regardless of me telling you what the build order is, we better do something intelligent with the gas. Otherwise, 'tis a waste. So State is doing one of the most ultra-common transitions, ultra-common openings, which is to have 2 in each gas geyser. 2 in each gas geyser ensures this nice little timing where you can get the Stalker and the Mothership Core, and a few seconds later, the Warp Gate research. All that will end up popping out at the same time. So I want to come to the State cam. Whoa, look at that interface change. State does a very limited amount of scouting, and it's a very intentional and focused amount of scouting. Right now, at 3 minutes and 12 seconds, what does State have? The ability to build a Zealot, and not a moment sooner. Before then, he was trying to build this assimilator, and then build the second assimilator, and then get this pylon down, and then get the cybernetics core down. Has not had a lick of time, or a lick of. You know why I really want to use the word lick in this sentence. It's apparently very important to me. He has not had an opportunity to build a Zealot yet. Still can't get lick in there. The important thing is he hasn't built the Zealot yet. However, notice that by building the cybernetics core, it's a nice timing. Build core, scout for proxy. If he saw proxy gateways here, he would just start the Zealot right now, at the exact moment when he would actually have enough to build it. So just to see that again, let's hit the B button. Hitting the B button. Good old B-boy button. So there it's done, and see, cybernetics core. Scouts with that probe. Oh, I'm just scouting my own base. I'm not going to talk about exactly how to defend against a proxy gate, because honestly, truly honestly, you know what the best way to deal with a proxy gate is? You just go double Stalker with a Mothership Core, send everything you have to his base, and base trade. What is he going to do with no gas? What can he do? So good. Anyways, so cool. So State has done the unthinkable. He has won versus the proxy gate, or at least established himself properly against a proxy gate. Spreading some pylons out, so far so good. Has rallied up to 3 in each assimilator. Fairly quick assimilator count, but then a very odd play comes in. Sentry, followed by Warp Gate and delayed Mothership Core. This is a very fast sentry. Almost never do you see a sentry without a Zealot. And yet here it is! Our good old proxy gate checking probe, also barreling towards his base. An extremely significant event is seeing a Zealot moving on out. If we saw a Zealot charging towards us, we might continue to see if it's going to head to our base, or we can pull it back with the probe. If the Zealot is coming, we're probably going to have to get an earlier Mothership Core. All that chrono boosting on the probes. Mass probe chrono boosting. So what State is going to see is actually not that noteworthy. State sees 2 gas geysers, 2 gateways, and no Zealot. This is the most standard frickin' thing ever. This is standard. There's nothing not standard about this in the slightest. 3 Stalker pressure, most generic looking opening. He could be going blink, DT, pressure, he could expand, he can go Oracle, Robo, everything is possible with this thing. The only thing that is not possible is an early Zealot Stalker harass, which is why we, again, have the opportunity to cut the Mothership Core. And there's our sentry getting built. So we have another pretty sweet moment here. Right when our first sentry finishes, we go for second sentry. Whoa! We go for Mothership Core as well. Whoa! Nothing else, and State is going to take himself his early expand. Joink. Now, of course, if you're looking at the production tab, you'll see that Minigun is going for Stargate. State doesn't know any of that. He just has a probe there. He's taking his expansion. This is a seemingly weird play, leaving the sentry this far forward. This is a very dangerous maneuver if you don't have extremely fast hands. If you don't, just leave the sentry there. But if you're good enough, you want the sentry here to pick off any probe that's trying to come up. Otherwise, this is if you don't have the APM, this is actually terrible. This is like the worst thing in the universe. Literally, it's literally the worst thing in the universe. Now let me note some cool timings. This Nexus, when did it get built? It got built around the time this sentry finished. But most importantly, this Nexus, look at when it'll finish. It's actually going to finish in about 80 seconds, which means it'll finish at about 6:20, which is right around the time a 4-gate would get started. When this is finished, we're going to have enough for a photon overcharge. Aw, yeah. So there's a couple layers of stuff I'm gonna note. So let me do case 1. What if he 4 gates or 3-gate rushes? Okay, that's the first question. That's what the Nexus is the key defensive tool. Isn't that weird? If we get this Nexus up, we're in good shape against the immediate round of rushes. Nice. What about the follow-up rushes? What about follow-up rushes? Delayed 4 gates. 3-gate blink. What about these sorts of things? That's why we follow up with this robotics facility. This is going to finish right when this #1 holy shit thing will happen, which will give us enough time to get out an immortal for this. And 3, what about air? Or him teching? Actually, I should say, what about air? We're going to see 3 gates come up in a moment, and what if he techs, expands? Number 4, we early expanded, you dummy. Whew, sick burn. Take that in the face. Yeah, what if he techs, expands? No problem. We expand. Or we expanded. So that's some of the build timing. See, here is gateway and gateway coming up. No probes being constructed while he went robo, gateway, gateway. None at all. Just chilling at a comfortable 24. So we have most of the building stuff covered. I want to note this movement. State is getting a good sense of what's going on. Do not leave these here if you do not have the sickest APM and minimap watching ever. State scouts around and goes, oh, okay, there's potential for a rush. Getting this pylon. I think this pylon placement sucks. I will use the word suck because it is out of range of protection from photon overcharge. If they angle it correctly. He should be able to hit it from there. At the very least, it's quite vulnerable. This would be a much better angle in my eyes, or even just on the high ground. I shouldn't make a big deal about this, but I mean, this is the worst thing that has ever happened to America. This is an assault to our freedoms, this pylon. This is just... He should be disqualified from the tournament for this. This pylon placement licks ass. In a gross way. I got the word lick in there. What do you want? What more can I do? I give you everything. Including a troll shirt. Alright, now, I've talked a lot about the potential defense. Oh, could potentially be... Look, I actually think I can open it up. Nah, I can't open up the other thing. I was going to open up a chat log. But I asked about, what about 4 gates? Early rushes. I was talking in a more theoretical fashion. But now look at this. We're actually going to have some pressure coming out of minigun. He's actually getting his gateways up. Now, State has no idea that there's actually an oracle here. See? There it is! Now watch State's defense. Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Mothership cores are quite good. Mothership core beats a stalker in a one-on-one. Never forget that. And see, right around the time a 4-gate would be striking us, photon overcharge instantly. Look at that. Yeah. It's that mothership core timing. Now, the best part about... You know, I might be slightly wrong. I think a stalker can sit here and shoot that. If I'm wrong, then this is actually then this is actually the greatest pylon placement I've ever seen. This is exceptional pylon placement otherwise. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. I shouldn't make a big deal about a pylon. The important thing is the timings. What am I talking about? The important thing really is the timings. Losing this mothership core here is weirdly a good thing, because we can rebuild it and it'll pop out with 50 energy as opposed to sitting here uselessly with 5 energy. But because we went sentry, 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 we can do some really sick force fields. Barely lets everything get out. Cool. We can see clearly that we're in good shape, despite the fire police being outside. And here is our Immortal getting ready to finish up for the follow-up danger. Follow-up danger is something we're worried about. No problem, we have the Immortal. Just getting a couple of these stalkers out. Very common look. Now, we have ourselves a fantastic economy. What do? Well, these sentries that we built, these were what were necessary for the 4-gate attacks. The Immortal is really what's necessary for future attacks, so we're more than happy to spend a little bit of energy to get a scout out. And in the meantime, yep, this is a little bit annoying, but no big deal. We're going to do the intuitive things. We're going to get up a couple stalkers. We're going to position them around our bases, and we will warmly embrace virtually no ability to move out for a very, very, very long time. There's his Oracle. Going to follow up with a second Oracle. Only want to watch a little teensy bit more. We can easily repel an Oracle with 3 Stalkers. 3 Stalkers is a fairly important number, because 2 Stalkers will lose to 2 Oracles, but 3 Stalkers are pretty much okay. And 2 Oracle harass, as we see, is pretty expected. Now we're going to take a break. Thus far, we've seen how comfortable and safe State is in this game. When we come back, we're going to analyze what it means that our opponent is going Oracle and how it's going to affect our tech. We'll also consider a little bit of, well, what if he didn't go Oracle, and just briefly touch on that. And then we'll see State play out the mid-game with no Colossus. Be back in a bit. We also are going to listen to this amazing song by Abso Facto that we already listened to in break because I can't get enough of it. Here we go.